Hi, this is Dwayne Palka from Pal Katoonz. This is another PalkArt demonstration. And here we're going to discuss the feather slider, which is brand new to version 1.02. The feather slider makes the tutorial for dual shape gradients, which was number 5, a lot easier. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on Heidi here. So I've zoomed in and panned. And now I'm going to draw a shape around Heidi. Just a rough mask. Okay, I'm going to pen that shape. And I'm going to turn off Show Picked so we can see ourselves zoomed into Heidi. And what I'd like to do here, and I'm just going to move back to the full view of Heidi here. And I'm going to scale Heidi up. So let's scale Heidi up maybe, let's just go scale and scale her 2 times. Okay. Now to show the feather slider, I'm going to click on Feather. And Heidi now is at, in terms of feathering, is at 0. So I'm just going to move her to some number, say number 4. Now, you'll notice that what it did was actually make a gradient on Heidi. And as I move it at 4, I'm going to move it up to, say, 10. And as long as I move this slider, it's going to change that gradient. And maximum I can go here is 20. And if I pull it down, I'm just going to take it down to maybe around 3. See how that looks. That's not quite enough. I'm going to take it up to 4 or 5. 4, 5, 8. Okay, I think I can live with that. Now, I'm going to change back to picked. Well, I have to do show picked first here. I'm going to change back to picked. I'm sorry, I was just laughing about Heidi's enlarged head in the picture here. It sort of merges in with the picture. But it's really quite an exaggeration. And put it back into that scene again. I'm just going to take this. It was a surprise to me. I didn't know. So I'm going to move here up to what we did before, and basically do the boat picture. So she replaces the boat. I could, if I spent a little more time on it, then I would trim it up a little bit. And if I wanted to trim it up a little bit, I would probably want to go back down to the initial picture of Heidi. So I'm going to take the slider again, move to the feather key. I'm going to take the slider and I'll put it back all the way down to 0. And sure enough, I'm back to the original picture. And then I could trim it up a little bit here, trim it up a little bit here, and move back to the, and feather her some more. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. That's pretty easy to do. But what I like to do here, I'm going to reset the fill on this one. And I want to move on to a different picture. Now, oops, I'm still feathering, sorry. I'll click on the picked button here and move up a little bit here to number 3. Now this is a picture I input before, and it looks very similar to the one I did in number 9, a collage of pictures. And it is. It's the same thing except for the fact that I hit the shuffle button first. I mean the shuffle checkbox up here. the shuffle checkbox, I hit that first before I input the pictures to grid. And when I input the pictures to grid, they came in randomly. So it's kind of a nice effect. You may want to do it a couple of different times to get different hits upon how you want the randomness to go. But what I want to do with this is I want to go back to the multiple that we had before. Instead of the circle in the multiple, I'm going to go down and do the heart. And I'm going to click on multiple here. Now I'm going to do select all and use picked image. I'm going to not show picked anymore. And here we can see Heidi with little hearts around her this time instead of circles like we had before. Now what I'm demonstrating here, I'm zooming in a little bit here. I want to go back to the feather key here, and when I'm working with the feather key here, what I like to do is I want to feather all the Heidis that I've selected. So I just select all, and I'm going to do I'm going to just move the feather slider here. Maybe I'll just move it to 4. It takes a little time because it's actually generating for every single one of these little pictures is generating a gradient. And we saw in number 5 the complexity of doing those gradients. And here it does it automatically. So I'm going to turn off the show strokes so we don't have to look at the strokes. But we know they're all selected. And I can change that again. What I'll do is I'll change it little up to say 10, and then I'll change it up to 15, and the maximum would be 20. So you get a little idea here. And if I put the picture behind it, if I put the boat behind it, I have to do show picked again here. See, if I do just show picked with the other picture, then you can't even tell that the shapes are there because they're blending in to the same picture. But I'm going to slide this down a little bit so I can get the boat. And then now you can see all the little faces that are here on the boat. Now I'm going to click back onto the feather. See, because I use the same slider for a lot of different pictures here. And I'm going to just slide until I can find what I want in terms of Heidi's picture with a heart. That's number 8. So we still have the heart. And the heart is nicely feathered around the edge, and we have the boat in the background. I'll zoom in a little bit so we can take a look at this. And that's the feather slider. It's good for doing the dual shape gradients, the dual shape gradients. Tongue twister here. If you just want to have feathering, if you want to do more complicated things with the dual shape gradients, then like for instance putting one shape on top of a totally different shape and see how those gradients go, or moving shapes around relative to the other shape, then it's good to go with the original one. But this is particularly good because the original gradient only does single shape, just does single shape gradients, even though it uses dual shape to do that. It only does one at a time, basically, and this will do in multiples as well. Okay, thank you very much for viewing this presentation.